में जूनियर बच्चन अभिषेक बच्चन पहुंचे जागरण सिनेमा समिट 2018 में। वेल आप सभी को बता दें, यहाँ अभिषेक ने अपनी फिल्मों से लेकर कई सारी बातें शेयर की और यहाँ पर वो श्रीदेवी तक अपनी यादें भी ताजा करते हुए नजर आए। जी हाँ, उन्होंने क्या क्या कहा, आइए आपको सुनाते हैं।
Boney Kapoor wanted to produce the film, and he said, "Look, come watch this film." I said, "Okay." So I went to see it in a trial room that we have called Ketnav, which is in Bandra. And I went and sat there. I remember Sridevi ji, the late Sridevi ji, was sitting next to me. I'm a huge fan of hers. Okay, I used to go hang out on the sets of Khudagawa just to watch her. And she was sitting next to me, and she's always been so lovely to me, and she had always encouraged me, and she had loved this film I'd done called Tera Jadoo Chal Gaya. I think she was the only person who
No, that's not true. That's not true.
But yeah, oh,
There
thank you.
Yeah.
Were you born? Yeah. So I was sitting next to her, and I was just, I'm sitting next to Sridevi. I was like, wow. And suddenly, I wasn't even paying attention to the film. But suddenly, when that scene came, for me, that was my ode to my father, actually. Because that scene reminded me of a scene in Diwar.
Right.
And I said, I'm doing this film. And then when I reached the set, I remember that, oh God, I've only remember one scene. I don't even remember what the film was about. But that was the reason I did that film. And that film actually got a great response. That's still one of the films that, you know, on Twitter till date, people still say that they liked it. So a few people saw it. But, you know, every film has its own destiny, I believe. So, yeah.
Are there any others you can remember which, I mean the early part of your career where you felt like you'd given your best, but I don't think the audience came and they should have?
No.
None?
The one truth which us actors very seldom own up to is when you see your film, which you do before the audience does, you know whether it's going to work or not.
Really?
Yeah. You know whether you've given your best, because you know the amount of effort you've put in whilst filming it. So you realize that. It's after that, it's, you know, hope is a very dangerous thing. You just hope it clicks. But you know the truth. I've, very honestly, I've done some 60-odd films now. Right. I've been wrong just about one of them. I could sit in the trial and be like, oh, another one bites the dust.
Really?
Yeah. Because of the way I worked in it. Not as an entire,
sure.
I can't comment on other people's work. But I knew, and I'm one of those people who believes that if your work is that good, the film will work. So I knew each and every one.
So which was this one that you were wrong about?
Jhoom Barabar Jhoom.
Are.
Yeah, I loved doing Jhoom Barabar Jhoom. I had such a blast. It was great music. Shahad and I were collaborating after Bunty Aur Bubbly. We had a blast making the film.
That movie you need drugs for.
It was yeah, no, say no to drugs, man. Yeah. So it was just wonderful. And when I saw the screening of it, all of us were watching it together, and we had a blast watching it. But then when the film didn't end up doing the kind of business I thought it did, it kind of threw me off. But then I realized why it didn't. And
did you actually go with coins to the screening?
Yes.
You actually throwing them?
When my dad comes on, yeah. Because I'd done that in Bunty Aur Bubbly as well.
Okay.
Shahad and I are big Amitabh Bachchan fans. So in Bunty Aur Bubbly, when his introduction happens, we actually went to Gaiety Galaxy and threw money.
Like, you won't get recognized in Gaiety Galaxy?
Or if you run down the aisle really fast and throw money and run out again,
really?
You're fine. And then you meet the ticket collector who says, "Mera screen mat phado tum." Okay, sorry. And then so we did that in Jhoom Barabar Jhoom. He did a song in that. And so we did that, yeah. But that was the one film which didn't do what I expected it to do. It didn't do badly, actually, but not what I expected it to do. That was the only one.
The others you've seen and you know.
Yeah. I think what went wrong with Jhoom Barabar Jhoom is there was a problem in relatability. You said it. You said you wanted to take drugs and watch it. It's because I think the characters were a bit too eccentric and flamboyant. Secondly, also what happens if you compare it to his last film, which was Bunty Aur Bubbly, the best part about Bunty Aur Bubbly. Have you all seen this movie called Bunty Aur Bubbly? Okay.
Yeah, stop being modest. Have you guys seen this movie called
Bunty Aur Bubbly?
It's one of the biggest hits of that year.
Yeah, but they all
just in case you're sitting in some other country.
So the relatability of Rakesh and Vimmi is that these small town kids who have stars in their eyes and want to make it big, that's, it was aspirational. It was every small town kid's dream to grow up and go to Bombay. That was the big thing. So there's that aspiration, there's that relatability. Now in India, हमारे रिश्तेदार फॉरेन में रहते हैं. This is a big deal. Hounslow में 10 जन एक कमरे में दिन रात, you know, they're stuck somewhere. वो problem नहीं है. How they live? वो तो foreign में है.
Right.
विलायत में रहते हैं. It's a very big thing. So now, when you've already showing a film about people who are living abroad, they're already aspirational. So we want to see the Raichans of K3G. You don't want to know what their normal problems are. एक तो तुम लोग विलायत में रह रहे हो. I don't want to know what your problem is, and I don't care about your problems unless you're showing me an aspirational life. So I think they just disconnected from it. To add to it, the characters were very zany, very out there. So they've just switched off from it. And they're like, this is a trip we don't want to be on.
But I said the drugs part because there's that song where the strobe lights are on.
Yeah.
And in the theater is really, really trippy.
Yeah. Kiss of Love, I think that's called.
Right.
That was Bobby and
Because
Preeti's.
it's like a dark hall. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in
Yeah.
any film in a theater.
But that's Shad, you know. Shad
Right.
has a very visual sense of cinema, and he can be very eccentric if he wants to. But yeah, that was the only film that I went wrong
so
on.
did Jhoom Barabar Jhoom in that sense start out actually being an India story and then became this? That
Yeah.
the two people actually meet
So
in
when we were doing Bunty Aur Bubbly is when Shad narrated a film called Sangam Mel, which is what Jhoom Barabar Jhoom became.
Right.
It was the story of two kids who had run away and meet in Nizamuddin station.
Right.
And then make up these stories because they're actually scared and just to make a companion and find out that they're falling in love. So it started as that. But then Adi felt that it was becoming a bit too similar to Bunty Aur Bubbly. And then he recast the film and then he said, and then instead of Rani and me, then became Preeti and myself. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, Rani is the one who suggested to Adi that, you know, why don't you base this in London? Because Shad had never traveled outside India. So Adi felt that with Shad's visual sense, he'd shoot that in a very trippy way. But I think that's where we went wrong. We kind of lost the roots of the film.
I think one of the things that people may not know about you, and I only recently learned, is that you have a notebook and you actually watch every film of yours and you review your performance almost like a reviewer would. Is that true?
Yes.
I wish I just asked you to carry your notebook. It would have been fantastic.
No. Terrible handwriting.
Are you terribly self-critical?
Yes.
Yeah?
As you should be.
As you should
Like
be.
I said, every actor knows, you know, at the end of the day, they know whether they've done a good job, whether they can do better. Yes, when you do go back and review, like last night I saw Ashu's film, Khele Hum Ji Jaan Se, you start growing as an actor. So I think part of the exercise of when you can look back at your work and find faults, in a sense is reassuring because that means you're already evolved a bit more than when you were doing the film. And I like to review my films regularly because I make notes as to how I could have improved that performance or what I need to be careful of.
So are you only looking at yourself or are you looking at the film in totality?
In the past couple of years, in totality.
Okay.
Before that, it was just myself.
Right.
I was still, at the start of my career, when I was still checking off some very basic things, which is why I've always said, whenever I've been asked that, I don't think I was prepared when I started becoming an actor. I see some of my colleagues that they were fully prepared. I was just, I got a job, yay, let's go. At the start of my career, I was still, is my hairstyle correct? Is my left profile good? Is my right profile good? Very basics of film acting. I was still figuring that stuff out. Now I managed to see it as an entire.
And you also look at every review that's, that's been written around. I don't know, now of course it will be impossible for you to, because there are millions of them, if you include social media too. And that you actually read what people have said about your performance. Is that true?
Yes.
Each one.
As many as I can.
As many as you can.
Yeah. When I started my career, I used to actually put up, I had a few of yours up there as well, on my bathroom mirror, and I used to highlight the portions that, the critiques had not liked about me personally.
Right.
And it was a kind of visual representation for me that from the first film to the latest film, the highlighted section should reduce. So that was kind of like a thing of self-improvement. So, okay, they didn't like this. Next film, try and implement that to improve upon that. So I used to do that.
Has there ever been a point where a reviewer is sitting right next to you and read a review to your face?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, we're going to do that right now.
Okay. Is it your review?
Yeah.
One of yours, right?
Yes.
This should be fun.
So background, okay, it's obviously a very, very short excerpt, but the one that relates to you. Background score is an indoor concert. Artwork aims at advertising photography alone. Farhan Akhtar has written the full dialogue. His companies produced the picture. Their recent credits include Lag by Chance, Honeymoon Travels Private Limited, Rock On, Karthik Calling Karthik. Which is sad, given no actor in Bollywood believes in the auteur theory more than Abhishek Bachchan does. If you've noticed, practically all his colossal creative failures, let alone their box office response, seem to have been directed by filmmakers most would otherwise trust. Shad Ali's Jhoom Barabar Jhoom, after Bunty or Bubbly, that we just discussed. Ashutosh Gowarikar's Khele Hum Ji Jaan Se, after Jodha Akbar.